The Super Nintendo Classic Edition is a great collectible and it's an amazing compilation of classic SNES games. But as with every game compilation, there will be games that are sadly left out. So let's talk about some of the games I wish were on the system, and let's discuss the 21 games that are included within the system. Welcome to the Video Game Show, let's begin! First of all, let me say that the box is really good. Do not throw it away. Keep it, put it on display like I have it right here in my room. It's a really good thing to keep around as a collectible. The front is really good. And the back has covers of the 21 games and some screenshots as well as some cool artwork taken from, the manuals and the covers and whatnot. And when you open the box, of course, you're going to find the console, you're going to find the two controllers and all the necessary cables. And the system itself is amazing. It looks great. It really does look like a little Super Nintendo. It's amazing, and it's a great thing to have on display, in front of your TV or on the shelf when you're not using it. The only weird thing is the front that you can open, because that's where you put those Wii-style controllers, those ports. But when it's not open, when it's closed, it really does look like a Super Nintendo, and even the power and the reset button feel like the original ones, just at a smaller scale, and they even have that spring. Listen. I was not able to get the Mini NES last year, but hopefully next year I'll be able to get it and I'll have both of them side by side on display. And of course I can't wait to play it, the NES one I mean. But yeah, let's talk about the performance. And let me tell you, it runs really well. The games run really smooth. I have not experienced any slowdown or any glitches or any freezing. I mean, minus Star Fox, but of course that game runs at 10 frames per second all the time. So that's not the system's fault. But aside from that, everything else runs really smoothly and looks great. Both in 4x3 mode and the pixel perfect mode, either way, it'll look really good. And you can put borders around the games. I don't do that, I don't like doing that. I find it distracting. But if you like doing that, then yeah, go for it. As I said earlier, there are many great games that should have been in the system that got left out. We'll get into that in a few minutes. But first of all, let me talk about the 21 games that are inside the system. Because some of these games are the greatest games of all time. I'm talking about Super Mario World, Super Metroid, A Link to the Past, etc, etc. There are a few games that I've never played, so I can't really talk about them, like Final Fantasy, like Earthbound, like Mario RPG. Well, I did play maybe like 2/3 of Mario RPG, but here's the thing. I'm not an RPG person. There are a few exceptions, like Pokemon, that I play, some of them. I've tried on many occasions and with many franchises to get more into RPGs. And who knows, maybe I'll use the Super Nintendo Mini to play some of these games. I really want to play Earthbound. I don't know if I'll like the gameplay, but I've always liked the visual style. I like the game's sense of humor. It seems interesting, so who knows? Maybe I'll finally do it. Give it a shot at least. I'm finally playing Kirby Superstar and I like it a lot. I play maybe like an hour or two by myself, and then I play like an hour with my brother with the co-op mode, and it's really fun. And here's the thing, I've loved Kirby for years. He's my favorite character to play as in Super Smash Bros. So it's kind of weird that I've never gotten to the series before. I mean, I played them, I've had people bring them to my house. I actually played a little bit of this game years ago when I was a kid, because a friend of mine brought the cartridge to my house and we played it a little bit. But I don't know, for some reason it's taken me years to get into the franchise. But I'm finally here, I'm finally doing it, and I'm loving it. And then there's the original Star Fox, which I have played a bit before because I do actually own the cartridge. I got it a few years ago as a gift from an old friend of mine. I've never sat down to beat the whole thing. I actually sat next to Troach while he beat it years ago. You can check out the Retro Day video to see that. But I didn't play it myself for some reason. It was him and Angel playing it. But I finally sat down and I played the first route, the easy route, and I played the medium route, or the normal route. And next up is the hard mode. Oh, I'm afraid to do that, but I'm gonna do it. I'm definitely gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Trust me. I promise. And eventually I will get into Star Fox too. Let's talk about the games that everyone knows and that I played as well. I'm talking about Mario World, Zelda, Super Metroid, and F-Zero. I love F-Zero. It's so much fun. It still holds up. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a simple game and maybe it doesn't control super smoothly, but there's a certain charm to that game and the music is just amazing. Mute City, Big Blue, those are all super memorable tracks. And Mario World, I played it so many times, but here's the funny thing. I've never beaten the whole game. I've gotten to the end quite a few times because I played it on the original cartridge, I played it on the computer, I played it on the Wii, I played it on the Wii U, but I never beat it. Something always happens, I get distracted, but I think I'll finally beat it. But I'm not going to do it here on the SNES Mini, on the SNES Mini. I'll probably do it on the Wii U, because I am in the last area on the Wii U, so I'll probably beat it there. But at some point, whenever I want to replay the whole thing from start to finish again, I'll probably do it on the SNES Mini. Sorry, SNE, oh fuck it, SNES Mini. And Super Metroid is an amazing game. I really love that game. I'm probably a bigger fan of Zero Mission because I find it less hard. I hate Meridia. I thought the last area was really hard. But aside from that, Super Metroid is a really fun game, and it's an important game because it set the bar, and it's a really important game, and it's highly influential. If you're a fan of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, or the GBA games, the DS games, or any other more recent Metroidvania games, you know, like Axiom Verge, you owe all of that to Super Metroid, and to a certain point also to the original Metroid, and maybe even Metroid 2. But Super Metroid really set the bar so high. It's an amazing game, and it must be played by any Nintendo fan. If you've never played Super Metroid, play it. Mario World, of course, F-Zero, and then there's Zelda. I have to say it, I haven't beaten Zelda, but I've played a nice chunk of it. Maybe I'll finally beat it here or on the Wii U. I don't know what's wrong with me with Super Nintendo games. Like, I've started so many of them over the years in different consoles, including the actual console itself, but I never got around to beating them. Maybe part of it is because these games I played years after they came out, most of them because I started with the N64. But I don't know, I can't explain it, but trust me, I will fill those gaps sooner or later. Okay, now this is the part that I'm really looking forward to, and maybe you guys as well. It's the games that were left out of the SNES Mini. And let me start by mentioning one of my favorite licensed games of all time, and that's Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. That's such a fun game. And here's the thing, the side-scrolling beat-em-up genre has gotten a bit old maybe, because they're so repetitive, but this one stands out. I think this one holds up really well, because it controls really well, there's a lot of cool moves, visually it looks really good, it has a good soundtrack, and of course, it's Ninja Turtles, and I'm a big fan of TMNT. Ever since I was a little kid, I grew up with the original show, with the movies. I'm a big fan of the 2003 show. That show is probably my favorite version of TMNT. I love the comics, I love the new stuff, some of it. So yeah, it's such a great game, and I love replaying it. I've replayed it so many times over the years, and I wish I could play it on this device. So yeah, that sucks. And then there's Pilot Wings. That is such an underappreciated game, and an overall underappreciated series, because I love the sequel. Pilot Wings 64 is a really good game. And the one on 3DS isn't good or great, but it's still decent. I like it enough. It's such a great franchise because the games are simple, but they can be deep and they can be challenging. And the original one, yes, it's aged in some aspects. The controls can be a little stiff, and visually it's not, you know, impressive anymore. But I repeat, there's a certain charm to this franchise, and I always recommend it to people. And feel free to check out the review that I made for the original Pilot Wings a few years ago. Another travesty is Mario All-Stars, because that's such a good game, and those are my preferred versions of Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3, because they look so good in 16-bit, because for the most part I do prefer 16-bit visuals over 8-bit, and those three games run so well on the Super Nintendo. I'm a big fan of the third one especially, that's one of my favorite games of all time. I specifically played the GBA version, Mario Advance 4, I would play it over and over. I remember one specific vacation when we went to Miami, I played it, I don't know, 2-3 times maybe during that summer. Oh my god, that's such a great game. I love that game, and that game and Mario 64 are probably my two favorite Mario games ever. So it really sucks that Mario All-Stars in general got left out. That really sucks. Another game that a lot of people mention is Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3. But here's the thing, while I love Donkey Kong in general, and I have my nostalgia for the first one, I'm not a big fan of 2 and 3, because I found 2 way harder than 1, and 3 I still haven't played. But I still feel like they should have been included, at least 2, because that's a lot of people's favorite DK Country game. But at least the first one is in there, and that's my favorite, so at least I can play that one. But I get it, a lot of people love the second one more, so for their sake, I wish the game had been included on the SNES Mini. With the exception of Ninja Turtles, the games that I mentioned are all first party, so they could have been included. It's really annoying that they didn't, because I'm pretty sure that this thing can probably hold more games. I mean, for God's sake, they're Super Nintendo games. They take up a small amount of space, so it really sucks. Because I do understand why a lot of other third-party games were not included. Disney games, you know, Star Wars games, Marvel games, DC games. I get why those games were included, but for God's sakes, Mario All-Stars, Pilot Wings, come on. The Super Nintendo is amazing, and the games are great. There are so many great games, so I want to know what games you feel should have been included that were not put in the system. I want to know what your favorite Super Nintendo games are. I want to know your Super Nintendo memories. So please, feel free to hit the comments, and of course, feel free to check out our back catalog of videos like our Sonic Mania Collector's Edition unboxing, our Goodbye Sonic Archie video, our Contra review, our Pilot Wings review. We got a lot of stuff. But most of all, I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time.